Stop. Stop everything you're doing right now. Stefon Diggs looked straight into the camera, smiled, and said, "We're going to talk about it real soon," when someone asked him if he and his brother Trevon are both ending up in Washington. That is not a denial. That is smoke. And in a minute, I'm going to tell you exactly why signing both Diggs brothers could be the best move Adam Peters makes this summer, or the mistake that costs Jayden Daniels an entire season. But while Washington is trying to bring stars in through the front door, Pro Football Focus just named Jer'Zhan Newton the #1 trade candidate in the entire NFL heading into training camp. And when I tell you why, it's going to hurt. And we close with Antonio Williams, the Clemson rookie, who quietly came in at pick 71 and who ESPN is already projecting as a day one starter in the slot alongside Jayden Daniels. Nobody in the DMV is talking about this kid yet. They should be. Let's get into it. Listen, when a TikTok video becomes national sports news, it's because it hit something real. This past weekend, the Diggs brothers showed up together on video. Someone asked them straight up, "How long until you both get in Commanders uniforms?" And instead of laughing it off, instead of ignoring it, instead of saying, "Nah, that's not happening," Stefon Diggs looked into the camera, smiled, and said, "That's what everybody's talking about right now. We're going to talk about it real soon, though. Bro, that is not a denial. That is not a, haha, what a funny question. That is a calculated response from a man who knows exactly what he's saying. That is smoke. And where there's smoke, now let's understand who these people actually are. Because this isn't just sentiment about they're from Maryland, it'd be nice. This has real weight. Stefon Diggs, 32 years old, last season with the Patriots on what was supposed to be a rebuilding team. This man put up over 1,000 yards and led New England to a Super Bowl appearance. It wasn't the team carrying him, he was carrying the team. His PFF receiving grade was 82.6, 10th among all qualified receivers. His yards per route run were 2.08. He had a drop rate of just 2.9% in a system that wasn't his, with a quarterback who wasn't elite. Stefon Diggs was Stefon Diggs. Pro Football Focus is calling the Commanders the ideal landing spot for him, and the reason they give is exactly what we've been saying for months. Washington's receiving core, even after the draft, is still a real need. We have Terry McLaurin. We love him. He's a Commander for life, but Terry can't do everything alone, and what Jayden Daniels needs isn't just another receiver. He needs a receiver who understands spacing, who works short and intermediate routes with surgical precision, who has the inside-outside skill set so defenses can't square the scheme. Stefon Diggs is exactly that. Daniels would benefit from Diggs' inside-outside skill set to lift the Commanders' beleaguered group. That's not me talking. That's Bradley Locker from PFF. And fam, what the numbers don't say, but I will. Stefon Diggs in a system built around him with a real quarterback like Jayden Daniels, that's different. That's dangerous. That's the kind of weapon that makes defensive coordinators lose sleep. Now let's talk about the brother, Trevon Diggs. The story here is more complicated, and we got to be honest, the last 2 years were not what we expected from him. Injuries, drama in Dallas, weird exits. The ending with the Cowboys was something else, to put it gently. After a Christmas Day game against the Commanders, Trevon asked to stay in the D.C. area to go to a concert and spend the holidays with his family instead of flying home on the team plane. The Cowboys said no. He stayed anyway. They cut him on December 30th. He signed with the Packers on December 31st. You got to respect the timing, honestly. But beyond the drama, what ESPN points to is the reclamation potential. Durant Jones, Washington's new defensive coordinator, runs a pressure-heavy scheme built on man coverage and a corner's ability to read the backfield. Trevon, when healthy, has exactly those tools. 11 interceptions in 2021, 20 interceptions across 6 seasons. That's not luck. That's instinct. ESPN's Matt Bowen puts it plainly. Washington could view Trevon Diggs as a reclamation project. And in a year where the secondary needs playmakers, a healthy and motivated Trevon Diggs playing for his hometown team, that has real value. The risk is clear. The injury history is a legitimate concern. But if Adam Peters brings him in on a low-risk, prove-it structure, the upside is massive. And here's the detail I think matters most in all of this. For the first time in their careers, both brothers are free agents at the same time. That doesn't happen twice. That TikTok wasn't an accident. That smile from Stefon wasn't an accident. This thing is moving. The question I'm leaving with Commanders Nation is this: do you sign both? Just one, or is it too much risk? Tell me below. All right, while we're processing all of that, something is happening behind closed doors in Ashburn that we need to talk about. Because while the Commanders are out here trying to bring in stars, they might be about to move on from a piece that a lot of us believed was going to be part of the future of this defense. Pro Football Focus just dropped their list of the top trade candidates before training camp. And the number one name on that list is our own Jer'Zhan Newton. Let's put this in context, because the story of this young man inside the Commanders organization is honestly one of the most frustrating things I've seen in recent years. Newton was the 36th pick in the 2024 draft. He was projected as a first-rounder. He came to Washington with real expectations, but from day one, circumstances worked against him. His rookie year, he had to sit behind Jonathan Allen and Darren Payne, two Pro Bowlers. You can't compete with that no matter how talented you are. Then Allen gets released after the 2024 season, and everybody thought now it's his moment. Now Newton gets the chance to show what he can do, and then the Commanders sign Javon Kinlaw, 3 years, $45 million. Look, I could be wrong about a lot of things, but Kinlaw has been widely labeled the worst free agency signing of the entire 2025 cycle. That's not just me. That's Bleacher Report. That's the numbers. And now in 2026, the Commanders bring in Tim Settle from the Texans, 3 years, $24 million, another defensive tackle. Once again, Newton is buried. Newton's numbers haven't been good. We got to say that. PFF career grade of 50.0. His run defense grade is 38.6. That's bad. That's concerning for a player at his position. But, and this is the important but, his pass rush win rate of 9.3% ranked in the 63rd percentile in the league. That is not a player without talent. That is a player who has a real tool that has never had the space or the role to fully develop, and now they're going to trade him? After 2 years of keeping him buried, the solution is to send him somewhere else. What I keep asking myself is this: if some team gives Newton 20 to 25 snaps a game in a defined role, how fast does he start producing? Because the problem was never his talent. The problem was he never got real runway, but the roster reality is what it is. You got Darren Payne in the last year of his deal who could also be traded. You've got Kinlaw who hasn't produced. You've got Settle just arriving, and now you've got Newton with no room. If they're going to trade Newton, at least get something real for him, a second or third round pick, something Adam Peters can use to keep building. Because giving away a player with his athleticism and pass rushing upside would be a mistake we'll regret if this kid blows up somewhere else. And y'all know how that goes. It always happens that way. All right, we step away from the tactical and slightly painful part of today, and we close with something that genuinely has me fired up. Because in the middle of all the conversation about veterans and trades, there's a rookie who came in quiet from the draft and already has two of the most respected analysts at ESPN talking about him like he's a lock for this roster. Third round pick 71, Antonio Williams. When the Commanders selected him, the general reaction was positive but calm. A solid receiver out of Clemson, smart, fundamentally sound. Not the explosive, pure athlete of a first-rounder, but with real tools. And then Field Yates at ESPN publishes his list of non-first-round rookies who could contribute immediately in 2026. And there's Antonio Williams, the exact quote from Yates. He is an extremely experienced, savvy, pro-ready wideout who can start in the slot from day one. Day one, in the slot, as a starter. That's not what you say about a project player. That's what you say about someone who arrived at the NFL level before playing his first professional practice. And Matt Bowen at ESPN adds to it. Williams consistently finds openings in coverage. He has awareness after the catch, and he's a reliable target on key downs. Exactly the type of receiver a quarterback like Jaden Daniels needs to keep drive chains alive. The Clemson numbers speak for themselves. 207 receptions, 2,336 yards, 21 touchdowns, fourth all-time at the program in touchdown receptions, tied with Mike Williams himself. And in his final season, he didn't just catch 55 passes. He ran the ball, played special teams, and even threw a touchdown pass. That kind of versatility in a slot receiver is exactly what David Blau needs to create tactical conflicts in the offense. Think about this for a second. If Stefon Diggs lands here, and I believe he does, you've got McLaurin outside, Diggs working inside outside, and Antonio Williams as the pure slot on third and fourth down. That is a receiving core that suddenly looks very different from what we had 3 months ago, and Williams costs nothing but a rookie cap hit. If he produces the way Yates and Bowen are projecting, he's one of the best values of the entire 2026 draft class. The kid arrived ready. Commanders Nation, I think we've got a real player on our hands. The Commanders are building something. The Diggs brothers are out here smiling on TikTok, talking about putting on the burgundy and gold. Newton might be moving on, but Adam Peters is going to extract value from that. And a rookie out of Clemson is already being called a day one starter by ESPN before his first real practice. You know what? This team has me genuinely excited, and we've been waiting years to say that with real conviction. If this got your blood pumping the way it got mine, drop that like right now and tell me in the comments, do you sign both Diggs brothers, just one, or do you want Peters to spend that money somewhere else? I want to read every single response. The second video is coming in hot. Do not move from this channel. Raise hail always.